In the spotlight tonight, Donald Trump continues to successfully beg for attention to his fake presidential campaign designed to pump up the ratings of his NBC TV show, which, like most Americans and like most NBC shows, I have never seen. Trump's favorite trick remains fanning the flames of hatred of Muslims. He does this, of course, while saying something along the lines of some of his best friends are Muslims, the mandatory disclaimer racists and other haters have been using for most of Trump's lifetime.
He may have one, but there's something on that person, maybe religion, maybe it says he's a Muslim, I don't know.
Of course he doesn't know. How much time do you think Donald has for reading or fact-checking when he's got to spend that much time on his hair? Now, I have a team working on my hair, and I have a team working on fact-checking, so I actually do have the time to read the fact-checking that my team does while my team's working on my hair. So I can tell you this. The long-form birth certificate in use in Hawaii at the time Barack Obama was born does not include a space for the parents to indicate their or their child's religion. That issue has been settled since 2009 when the Honolulu Advertiser published a version of the long-form birth certificate issued at that time. Trump talks out of every side of his mouth about the announcement of Barack Obama's birth that appeared in at least 2 Hawaii newspapers.
2 poor people, a man and a woman with no money, they have a baby. There's announcements in the newspaper.
The grandparents did it.
The grandparents. Nelson Rockefeller doesn't put announcements.
Sure, there are birth announcements all the time.
I've never seen one.
Really?
No, I've never seen
one.
I've never seen one.
Okay, Trump's never seen one. O'Reilly has seen a lot of them, and I've seen a lot of them. O'Reilly has never been so gentle with someone who he knew was lying. And that was what he said. What was that he said about the Rockefellers?
2 poor people, a man and a woman with no money, they have a baby. There's announcements in the newspaper.
The grandparents did it.
The grandparents. Nelson Rockefeller doesn't put announcements.
Who knows more about what poor people are capable of than Donald Trump? Nelson Rockefeller doesn't make announcements of births. Okay. He may have thought he was safe citing a dead person who couldn't argue with him, but it turns out Nelson Rockefeller did make birth announcements. The Associated Press reports on April 23, 1936, that Mr. and Mrs. Nelson Aldrich Rockefeller announced the name of their 3rd child, Stephen Rockefeller. As for Barack Obama, the birth announcements Trump refers to appeared in Honolulu's 2 major newspapers on August 13th and 14th. And those announcements are not published by the hippie parents, as Trump calls them, or by the grandparents, as O'Reilly imagined. They are received directly from Hawaii's State Health Bureau, as the Honolulu Advertiser shows, and the health department's spokeswoman confirmed in the Advertiser 2 years ago. So for the last 2 years, there has been absolutely no reason to guess how the Obama birth announcement appeared in the newspaper. Barack Obama's parents or grandparents could not have simply called the paper and had Barack Obama's birth announced in that section of those newspapers. Impossible. And there's another lie Trump has mentioned repeatedly and insisted upon again today on MSNBC.
We all agree he was born, okay? We're all so happy that he was born. Okay, now, the ad was put in. It's very unusual for people to put ads in, but it was 3 days later.
Notices and death notices are standard.
It was 3 days later, 3 days after the fact.
The birth announcements were not published 3 days after the fact. They were published 9 days after the fact in one paper, 10 days in the other. That's because those newspapers don't publish birth announcements every day, so the August 14th Star Bulletin would include birth announcements for children who were born as far back as July 30th, 5 days before Barack Obama. Joining me now, Huffington Post reporter and